let's get into it. There's a lot to talk about, but we're gonna start it off with just everybody commenting on how you feel about what are some thoughts around the theme in general, the brand itself, Every Nigga Deserves. What does it mean to you? And also, what does a safe space mean to you? Okay? And we can pop point it too. We don't have to go in a circle. If you want to, by all means, we want to keep it in order. That's good.
This brand, I love. It's very provocative, but at the same time, it's very endearing. The things that they post and that they talk about, what we deserve, every nigga deserves, we do deserve these things. And a lot of times we don't talk about this type of stuff. There's no one else telling us we deserve this stuff in like our society. So it's very like welcoming and like, I don't know, like it gives you like warm and fuzzies, like, but it kind of like makes you like giggle too, like because of the name and just, so I love it. It's very like, it's very dimensional in different ways. And so for me, a safe space, it just means somewhere where you can be yourself, or someplace that you can be happy, sad, angry, upset, like whatever you want to be, that you're safe in whatever that's going to be in that environment. So
Jay Electronica, one of my favorite rappers, he got this line and he says, "Nigga, you don't know struggle, nigga, you don't know black." And I love the concept of Black people have this inner resilience within us, right? So every nigga deserves, even the concept of that we deserve something pre-assumes that there is a reason why we didn't have it in the first place, right? And that's the thing that's kind of consistent in the Black community. We didn't have a lot of things that we needed. We needed therapy. We needed to dream big. We needed art. And so I think it represents our ability to overcome the things that may not have been accessible for us originally that now we had access to. And I think we all deserve that. We all deserve something that's speaking about the beautiful quality of Black resilience. So yeah, that's what I thought about.
I love that niggas just being said. Like, I feel like growing up and just even in the wellness space, I'm thinking about Lauren Louise. Like, I would say nigga all the time, and people would just be like, don't say nigga. And I don't know if Dion's here, but we would just be like, nigga, 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 nigga. Yes, like, but there was a lot of niggas in there. But it feels so good. Like, you hit on accessibility. And I feel like when I first saw the Instagram, I was like, what? Like, this is just so, like, this just felt like the conversations that we're having with our friends. And it was so good to see it just say niggas. And I always be like, niggas is a genderless term. Like, you're talking to everyone, all of us, how you utilize it. And so it's just cool to just see something pop up daily that it's actually talking directly to you, and you feel connected.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a safe space should allow you to grow. I think a lot of times, like, we talk about like self and we don't talk about like the growth, and growth means like, mistakes. Growth means being able to actually like reflect. And I think having safe spaces to like allow you to do that and like navigate that process.
I love everything. So yeah, I think I, for whatever reason, was like late to Every Nigga Deserves, and I blame my friends who didn't put me on over here. Just kidding, I know. But it was divine timing, And when I discovered / just stumbled across it, I was like, oh, yeah, this is me. Like, it felt like what I try my best to embody in my own life, my own working of my own deservedness, and then what I know that my spirit then emanates outwards from E.N.D. And I also feel like I resonate with it so much because this past year for me, with my personal journey, speaking to what you're talking about change, the changes that I've gone through have really, in so many ways, just been about me expanding my capacity to receive that which I deserve. Because you can affirm this all day, but if you're not open to receive, someone else is going to get the art or express the arts because they know that they're here to share their gifts with the world. Someone else is going to access the safe space because they saw the invitation and they decided to come through rather than stay at home because whatever. So whatever the thing is, it's like we have to be open to receive. And once you do that work, whatever that looks like for you, because we all have our own journeys, in my experience, life exponentially improves. I'm like, oh yes, you know? So it's beautiful. And I think this idea of a safe space is really interesting for me because I, for the past 7 years in particular, have really been, you know, holding space, curating space. And this idea of safety is always a question. I've heard people talk about brave space and courageous space. Because harm, and I know we're going to get to this, harm is like real, and we're always, you know, those of us on an intentional path of healing and expansion are always trying to, of course, be as harmless as possible. However, we're human and things happen. So I just love that, like, even centering a safe space alongside Every Nigga Deserves is really interesting and also provocative in a sense, too, to go back to what you were saying.
That's right. Yeah, a lot of beautiful points. Kind of hardball on last. I won't do that again. When I first saw it, I was like, I like this. It like activates you, and I think we could all generally agree like there's this like unspoken language that we have. Like, so when you see something that's for you, it's like, yeah, I fuck with that, right? That was a feeling that I had. But I also look at that word deserves and I say, like, what don't you deserve? You know what I mean? There's nothing on this wall where it's not like, all right, like that struck a chord, yeah, I deserve this, this, and this. But I also love too, like the opportunity to say like, we talk about making space and receiving things, I also really believe in like earning, right? So like, there's an opportunity to say like, every nigga deserves an opportunity to earn. Like, what does that even look like? Every nigga deserves an opportunity. We didn't even have that. And, you know, so many thoughts came to my mind, but was really excited to align with the brand because it speaks a lot to me. Like, I always look at myself as like this little black kid, little black boy from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, you know, that used to walk around and, you know, raise money from people who were tailgating, asking them for dollars to donate to my youth football team, right? So like, when I see that, I'm like, it's inspirational. You know what I mean? Like something to latch on to, something to believe in. I think every nigga deserves is doing a good job of that so far.
Yeah,
for sure.
Word. I agree with all of your answers. If I had to say, you know, I take Every Nigga Deserves personal, you know? Like, it informs my politics. The primary organization I'm in is a Pan-African organization. Which literally encompasses every nigga. You know, it means like if you are of African descent, no matter where you are on the planet, you deserve what you need, right? It's also partially a socialist organization too, you know, which is at the bare minimum, people have what they need. At the bare minimum, that's all we're saying, you know? So on a micro scale, most definitely, that's what I believe in. And on a macro scale, on a micro scale, you know, every nigga deserves my money. I'm staying down the street at the black-owned hotel. You know what I'm saying? I try to go to as many black-owned restaurants when I'm anywhere. You know, I look for black shit, you know? So like I really try to practice on a daily basis. What does it look like to help facilitate niggas getting what they deserve, you know? Word. All right, so let's move on to the next question. Abena brought it up, you know, the elephant in the room, per se. The word nigga, which is hard to even say. It felt like a curse word. I mean, every time I say it, every nigga deserves. I'm seeing older folks in here, like, am I disrespecting you? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, y'all. But yeah, how are y'all feeling about the word nigga? I mean, I know we have, you know, I'm not gonna say anything. All right, I just really wanna hear what y'all think about like where we are with that word so far. It's been a lot of different sides. Didn't the NAACP try to bury the word nigga some years ago? Anybody remember that? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So like, I don't know how we feel about that. If it was like, you know, if that was a movement that died, if we are, but you know, what do y'all think about it, you know?
So I grew up in the suburbs that were like hella white in Minnesota, and like I really did not hear black peers, you know, saying nigga. So for me, it was always like N-I-G-T-E-R, and that is bad, and white people call you that because it's racist, right? So I feel like it was Chicago. And my girls there, and my dudes there too, where I definitely got more comfortable hearing it and, you know, and just accepting that white people don't get to define what that means, you know what I mean? and that my experience is my experience of the word, and I can also like, you know, take it in a different way as well. So that's my relationship to the word, and I just appreciate that you're asking, was because we all do have completely different relationships with a word, you know what I mean? And I think that we have, and Abiola spoke to this in yoga this morning, and then I expanded on it even more in the meditation this morning in the space around like the power of self-definition and that being connected to our divinity. So I appreciate this because you're allowing us to all really essentially stand in that virginity by saying, this is my story with it. This is my relationship to it.
Erykah Badu, she had posted a tweet and it said, I'm officially changing the word nigga to God. Basically, she's saying that the word nigga and how Erykah Badu pigeons it is God. And now granted, whatever, you don't have to necessarily agree with that concept. But what you can see is that Black people, we invented the remix, right? We always recalibrating shit. I'm an alpha. If you go to a HBCU, when they play Nuck If You Buck, right? Now, so the words of Nuck If You Buck is I'm a gat toting pistol holding nigga on your damn tree. It's a whole song literally about murdering Black people. That is the entire point of the song. If you see it at a HBCU, it's as if a gospel song came. It's so beautiful. It's just joy and excitement and bliss and everybody just having the time of their lives. And that's what's so beautiful about Black people. We take some shit that was meant for harm. We turn that shitless into a delicacy. You dig what I'm saying? I don't fuck with shitless. Get off that porch.
I was about to say, I was about to get real judgy.
Let that shit go. You feel me? Everything deserves fruit. It's fruit for free over there. But what's beautiful about Black people is our ability to re-envision things that were initially meant for harm, such as the word nigga. So it's nigga, nigga, nigga every day over here.
I gotta feedback off of what you said, because specifically what you said about Erykah Badu, right? Because she said God.
Mm-hmm.
I went to a predominantly white high school, and we were reading Huckleberry Finn, and it has nigga a lot in it. And what our teacher told us was replace the word nigga with slave. So that just like, that's so opposite of what you just said, like, and it just struck a chord with me because it's so much about context, and it's so much about how others perceive you, and also about how you perceive yourself, right? But when I think of this brand and this movement, Every Nigga Deserves, like, there's so much positivity attached to it and just empowerment that, like, it makes you love the word. Like, it feels so exclusive to us. Like, we know who it's talking about. We know it's for us. Like, we know it means something good, like, and something rich. But that example, like, just goes to show you, like, you can't let anybody tell you, like, who you are or what nigga means to them. Like, it don't mean slave, but that's what our teacher had us saying. You know what I mean? So we're in control.
Facts.
We write our own narrative. And if it's endearing to us, it's endearing to us. And if it's positive to us, that's what it is, and that's what it means. And I think that we just have to be in a space or understand the fact that, like, we're the ones that determine, like, what it means to us. Like, you don't let nobody tell you, like, that it means something negative or that it's this or that. And so I love that you brought that up, because it's like I had such a different experience, like, at such a young and impressionable age. And we just have to be very careful about education and what we're being taught and what we're letting absorb and internalize. Because something like this, Every Nigga Deserves a Safe Space, is the opposite of, like, the experience that I had.
I don't want you to go last because
Well, I was looking, I was like, damn, I'm up. Just trying to find another angle to add to the conversation. So, like, we talk a lot about, like, how we interpret things. I think it really matters where it comes from, too. Like, who's calling me a nigga?
Yeah.
Right? Like, where is this? Who's saying that to me? Right? I think that matters a lot, right? That context. But then also, too, really thinking about the clarity you brought up around, like, what it means and how we define it. And this is an oversimplification of it, but everybody knows this is a rock. And we know what a rock does, and we know how to define a rock, right? And that's, if if we don't have that universal language or that grounding or understanding, then that creates space for dysfunction, that creates space for misunderstanding, that creates space for just like mistakes and just bad shit to happen, right? And I'm just sitting here thinking, is this word heavy enough? Is it polarizing enough to kind of hold back any progress that we're currently making, right? Is this something that will divide or potentially have an adverse effect to the growth and development of our community? Just a thought. I don't have an answer, but that's just what I was thinking.
I think, well, so I'm Ghanaian, so growing up, like, I think when you say who says it is really important too, and how the intention behind it. Because I feel like I heard nigga being sick, 'cause I have an older brother and it was through music. So I just always felt like I could say it. But then my parents were like, excuse me? Like, you don't say that. You don't put yourself to those, like, you know? And so growing up Ghanaian, still being a Black person in the States, living here as a Black American too, like, it's just so many different things that it would come to it. But I feel like having an older brother listening to music, for me, I always felt like it was something that I could say. And also being able to tell other people they can't say it. I just always felt so, like, I've seen my brother move around from New York and just see how different people, like, people that aren't Black say nigga, and I'd be like, see, what? You know? And I think just having, it's around the intention of the word for me and how it's being said. And again, like you said, who is saying it, and me feeling comfortable enough to say it. I don't feel like whoever is calling me a nigga to call me a nigger or not, or what that means. But yeah, I think it's about just who we are and how we define it at the end of the day.
Yeah. I agree. Similarly, I think that, we've had to reclaim everything in this country. Our entire experience here has been a process of reclamation,
Right.
Even like, nobody wants to, like, you got Black, I'm from Chicago, right? But how did my peoples get to Chicago? What were they running from? Vicious white folks. So it's not like an exciting thing to be from Chicago per se, but I love the city. And we've turned it into a place where folks know it for, as a hub of Black culture and beauty, Before that, folks are from Mississippi. That's not where they were from before, but at some point we had to reclaim that, And so I think that's, that this word is also a part of. And I love our ability to do it, and I love how we do it with so much fun and so much zest and something, it's always funny at the same time. It'd just be a good time in the process of reclaiming. Word. Okay, we already getting vulnerable, which I love. Because that's it's a critical ingredient in a safe space. So the next question is a little bit more personal. It ain't got to be super deep. But I was listening to Mariba's album on the way down here. And one of the lines in the album is, freedom for my people is urgent. Yeah, we deserve it, So every nigga deserves freedom, right? Talking about our personal experiences gives us an opportunity to relate to each other. You never know who is feeling you, you know what I'm saying? So what makes you feel most free is what I'm asking you. What makes you feel, if every nigga deserves freedom, what individually, specific to you, makes you feel most free?
I feel like having, like, the ability to make choices, like, and knowing that you have a choice in, like, all these different situations. I think the more I grow in understanding, like, I actually have choice in a situation, allows me to know that I have freedom. Even if I have choice to make a bad decision or not, like, it's my choice. And having that authority and understanding God gives me that authority, I think that is freedom for me. And, like, obviously the more opportunities and knowing that I can create that too, like, it's just another level of freedom. Like, I think that's what it is. Like, sometimes we, especially as Black people, and I can only speak for myself, obviously, but it just continues to tell us that, like, we have to break through to get a level of freedom. We have to break through to get this freedom. You have to step this boundary, then you'll get this. Where most of the time it's like a lot of it has to be within ourselves and, like, the unlearning or the relearning and how. So I feel like the more I'm able to get information that allows me to feel more connected with myself, and, like, the ability to make choices makes me feel free.
Word.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that resonated with me a lot, so I can speak to it because I don't know. This came up in conversation the other day. I don't know if it was here, but Audre Lorde spoke to poverty being essentially the absence of choice. You know? We see this all the time. We see this in like when there's national disasters in predominantly Black cities and nations and countries, and on the aftermath when there's like a lack of support, what happens? You know what I mean? Like, it's just poverty is the absence of choice. And so it's also a privilege to be able to have freedom and to be able to embody freedom. And that's why it's so radical when we see one another doing it. And that's why it's so urgent for us to do it. Those of us who can. I'm always thinking about freedom. I'm always thinking about freedom for Black people. Literally the past 2 anniversary moments of Black Girl in Om have also been about freedom. So it's something that's always in my field. And I feel like one thing that I can, in my own personal life, because it's like, you know, the invitation was to get personal. This past year, I also discovered more things spiritually about myself, where I'm really meant to embody freedom in this lifetime. And I found out things about my ancestors also, and the ways that they embodied freedom through entrepreneurship, through spirituality, and the ways that they shared their practices in a very free way, which when you think about spirituality and religion as Black people around the world, like, I'm so invested in conversations about like what it means to express God in a very free way. Because there's a lot of like policing around. Like, I straight up had someone this past year, I'm still like shook by this moment, ask me if I believe in God. And I'm like, I was so blown by that question, because I'm like, I feel like God's all I talk about. But because the way that I embody God and relate to God was so different from how they did, it like blew my mind. So yeah, those are some of my thoughts about freedom. I could talk about this all day. I love this question so much.
Right. It's a great answer.
I'm writing a book right now. It's called Build and Destroy. And the first chapter is called What is the Opposite of Fear? And the reason why that's the name of the first chapter is because fear is the universal brake to life. It is that which stops or stagnates everything else, right? So anything that you want, and by you, I mean any person in this room, the only thing that is standing in your way of accessing that is fear, right? Whether it's your fear to chase your dream, your fear to profess your love to the person you're in love with, your fear to express yourself completely if you're an artist, it's all fear. And so freedom is a life without fear. And even if we think of like the structures that create lacks of freedom, like oppression, patriarchy, racism, all of those are still embodiments of fear, right? It's just their fear of us. You dig what I'm saying? So if the white supremacist structure we live in is due to a fear of people of color when they access their power, right? So freedom is not only a personal existence, but a unanimous world void of fear. And so, yeah, man, break free from the fear.
Words.
Yeah.
What's on the other side of fear? Is it like confidence? Is it belief? Yeah, as you were talking, I was thinking, you know, the believing in the promise, right? Like, again, I believe in like earning, working, and, you know, there's a trade-off, input, output type thing. And so like you wouldn't pay the proverbial price if you didn't know what the promise was, or if you didn't believe in the promise. Like you wouldn't put your time, your energy, resources in it, so on and so forth, if you didn't believe that by doing X, Y, and Z, you would get an output, you know, or you would be rewarded for your work. And so to me, freedom is having that belief in that, like, you know, I'm doing this for a reason, and my work is not, you know, in vain. You know, my efforts aren't in vain. That is very freeing, and I think it helps definitely mitigate a lot of the fear because you believe that, you know, you're working towards something.
Can I respond to that? That's such a beautiful point. I know y'all got to say, I just wanted to say one thing to that. Like, if we think about, so freedom, this thing is called every nigga deserves, right? That word was created literally to enslave Black people, right? And so let's think about the Black people that ran to freedom. What does it take to be living in Mississippi? There is a master over you, you're in chains, you're seeing people get beat every day, you're living a terrible existence, but to have that courage to run to somewhere you ain't never seen, you don't know if it really exists, you just know follow the drinking gourd or whatever the fuck somebody told you, you have no idea. The only thing you have to latch on is belief. That's all you have. And so even the pursuit of freedom can't even begin without the radical belief that it's possible. So I think that's a good point. Yeah.
I think everything that has been said thus far resonates with me in terms of freedom. But specifically, when I think of being free and freedom, time comes to mind. And not only time to do, but time to be. And a lot of times, no pun intended, we as Black people are not given or don't always feel as though we have the time to partake in therapy, time to be with our families, time to relax, time to whatever it could be.
Yeah.
But time is such a privilege, and it's just one of those things that once it's gone, you can't get back. So I think the true freedom for me, the way I see it, is in time, how it is spent, being and with who you spend it with.
I can relate. Yeah.
Oh, did I mean okay? What though? Yeah. Just started. Yeah.
Time. I mean, we are always. Because the important part of this particular question is, I stated. So are the meat of it. I always feel like I'm running out of time. Or always feel like I'm late. Always feel like I'm behind on something. Always feel like I could be at least a little bit more forward if I invested more time in it. You know what I'm saying? So that's definitely, it keeps me in a space where like progress feels impossible. It feels like a carrot I'm always chasing. I know it's there. I'm literally looking at it. You know what I'm saying? But I can never actually grab it or reach it, So I can relate to that for sure. Word. All right. A little bit more difficult. We know what we've been through. All right. Trauma begets harm in ways that, have destroyed families, have impeded our ability to believe, to have faith, to love, to question all of these things, right? And so harm is kind of like has permeated our lives in some ways. And everybody's not really trying to transform or change for the better in their way, And so every nigga it's a beautiful concept, right? Every single one of us it's a wonderful idea. It's a dreamy idea. And at the same time, we got some folks out here doing intentional harm, And so, what do we think, or how do we think is best? What are the best ways to address niggas that we don't believe are as deserving, It's thick because it's how I'm fumbling through it because I really don't know. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's something like freedom implies autonomy, implies self-reliance, right? And so at some point there are no systemic oppressions, right? to have to deal with. It's just us, right? And then with us, everybody will not be perfect. Somebody will do harm for sure. There's no question about it. How do we address it? And how do you bring your holistic practices? How do you believe your passion to addressing some of these harms?
That is a tough question. The first thing that comes to mind is just a lot of times what's helpful for me from working with all people, whether it's therapy or just personal relationships, is understanding how to meet people where they're at. And sometimes our expectations that we have for whether it's for ourselves or other people, it can go beyond the capacity of what someone is able to give you. So if your expectations are too high, like you're going to be disappointed, and that's the point of expectations and not having them. But there's so much trauma and so much hurt, like you said, within our community of Black people, within the history of where we've been and where we are now, that there's a lot of grace, I feel like, that we have to extend to one another. There's so much healing that has to take place that it's really hard to look down on people because, like you said, it's hard to look at the bad things and the negative without focusing on and understanding the systemic aspect of where we've been and where things are going. And that's what makes it so tough, right? Because you're asking like, what do we do? How do we look at these people, right? So, like I said, I guess what just comes to me is meeting people where they're at, understanding that all change, whether it's good or bad, is loss, and understanding what that means. So even when change is good, you're still losing something, whether it's who you've been or what you did. And even when change is bad, it's still a loss of something. And just understanding like that dynamic and being open, I guess, and flexible with each person, because we've all dealt with so much and we've all experienced trauma, but it's all different. So there's like no one way to view it or to approach or fix, for lack of a better word. It's deep.
I feel like when I used to be a therapist, one of the things I remember that always helps me around trauma is that same amount as there's post-traumatic stress, there's also post-traumatic growth. So like your traumas, even though sometimes you don't want to acknowledge what that trauma has allowed you to do with your growth, sometimes acknowledging that allows you even to grow more. And also with that too is like being able to have that choice of you don't have to grow with everyone. You don't even have to meet people with them. You know what I mean? You can make the choice to no longer want to be a part of someone's growth. You can always wish energy for their growth, but you might not have to be the person, creating space that they deserve or creating the healing moment. It doesn't have to be you. Because I think like it's such a tough topic, especially I think when you think about a lot of experience that Black women in general have to experience around trauma from so many different ends. From niggas, nothing like, no, but from all of us, you know what I mean? And so it's like, I think sometimes we have to be able to say like, this is not my ministry. Like, I don't have to comment. I don't have to be a part of this. And I think sometimes it's even harder when it has to do with family or the people closest to you, friendships, and being able to set those boundaries. Because I think with trauma comes learning boundary setting, which is so hard because we are taught from such an early age, like just in general, like everyone or all of us, and we are somewhat of a monolith within family dynamics, whatever. So I think it's like navigating the space of trauma is always, from my standpoint, is like being able to look at growth with that too and what can come off of it and what that actually needs.
Going back to what you were saying about grace, the first thing that came to mind when you asked this question was one of the cards that we have that we created for this whole series of days, which is every nigga deserves grace or something to that effect. So it's in my purse. Mm-hmm. If you don't have a card, by the way, we're going to get you one before you leave. They have these very intentionally created words, like very, very intentional for this weekend and the intentions here. But yeah, in my own personal life, I've been on a lot of different journeys around like healing trauma within my family. And at every turn, it was like, oh, you think it's about them? It's about you. Every single person is a mirror for an area within yourself that is in need of healing. And so that grace piece is so essential because it's like, we all know that we've all been through some things that have made us out of alignment with that soul self that chose to come to this human experience. And so let's just all like breathe and give ourselves grace and give others grace. And like you were saying, when you feel like it is time to move on from a certain dynamic or relationship in this season or, forever, do that for yourself. You know what I mean? And so I love the idea of grace. And I feel like I've always been a little like, it felt elusive to me for a very long time. I vividly remember being in college and going to hear this woman speak about this like horrific, trauma that she had experienced that then led her to immigrate to the United States. And I literally remember being like, how could she possibly forgive these things that she went through? And the core of her message was grace. And I was like, what? I still don't get it. You know, I didn't vocalize any of this, but within my own self, I remember the feeling of like, how, you know? And so it's a journey, you know? I hate saying that, you know, it's a journey. It is, it is. And I certainly have appreciated the millions of times that I have been extended grace when I didn't deserve it. Because that's the point. Like, you can't earn grace.
Yeah, that's the deal. Those 2 points I was thinking about, like, honestly, I'm so focused on what I deserve, right? Like, if you think that you deserve something, then that's great, right? And if I have a disagreement with that, then I'm not giving that the time, space, or energy to like say like, I don't think that you deserve that. That's not my space, right? Like, who am I to say that you don't deserve that? Because I don't have full context of your life, right? I don't know everything that's happening behind the scenes. And so, you know, being graceful and thinking about like, you never know what people are going through. Like, this person may express like, you know, I deserve X, Y, and Z. And then you may have a thought saying like, well, I don't think you deserve that, but who are you to say that? And so like, I'm like, you know, if you think that's a great thing and I still may disagree with it, I'm like, there's that meme going around like is it like the African American urge? And they were talking about like, you know, how do you say stupid? And I was like, you know, there was one meme and it said like, you better than me. Like, hey, you better than me. All right, cool. Like, go for it, right? Yeah, just like, all right, cool. Like, you know, not being negative, but it's like, hey, like, go for it. You know what I mean? Like, you better than me. Go for it. You know, because it's all still like, again, you never know what anybody's going through. You always try to be positive, uplifting, even though like that ain't my ministry. You know, good luck. But really, I just don't subscribe to the narrative or like the practice of saying like, you don't deserve this because I don't think you deserve that, right? Because I wouldn't want that put on me at all. You know what I mean? Like, don't do that to me. You know what I mean?
I do not believe in the concept of evil. I don't think it exists. I don't think that there is some evil Satan entity here trying to make everyone sin. I don't believe in that concept. I believe that we're all on the spectrum of what you would call good and evil. And the people that are furthest along this spectrum, where you would call them evil, are the people that experience the most trauma, the most pain. To do a horrible, horrific thing means extreme pain had to happen first. So I consider, like, I love my mother deeply. What if I was standing here and my mother was here right next to me and someone just shot her in the head in broad daylight right in front of me? What would I do? What would I want to happen of the person that killed my mother? Sure. Initially, just from some damn near instinctual urge, or maybe just a societal urge, I would want some kind of revenge. But in my true heart, and the true heart of real forgiveness and real love, it's like, I want this person to heal. Because the amount of pain that they had to murder my mother had to be something that I can't even begin to fathom, right? Like, I'm from Gary, Indiana. I'm from the hood. I know real murderers and killers. And I also know how they were when they was kids. And I also know that they mother was a crackhead and their daddy used to beat the fuck out of him until he went to jail, right? So even when we think about every nigga deserves, it's like, yes, every nigga deserves, because the country that we're in wants to pit us against each other. Like, oh, some black people are the deplorable black people, right? But really, it's just like, no, when you exist in a situation where you don't have access to upward mobility, Jay-Z got this quote, we hustle by a sense of necessity, right? Out of a sense of desperation. You dig what I'm saying? So people that are doing the most negative, destructive seeming things are the people that really deserve the most, because they were the most unloved, the most uncared for. And I believe that is that revolutionary love, that revolutionary empathy that is necessary to give everybody everything. So for y'all, my brother.
I'm really wondering what's going on in some heads. You know, because this is a tough one. I agree, every nigga deserves grace. I agree entirely. I think what also comes with the territory is you don't necessarily deserve access. Yeah. All right. And so definitely to the example you gave, You know, let's identify your trauma. Let's not, come at you in a way that's extremely judgmental or punitive or some things like that. And you don't got access to nobody else's mama. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, when it comes down to it, we don't know what you're gonna do with people's moms, right? You don't get access no more. You know what I'm saying? You hurt, all right? This is something that you do. You've harmed people. You're not aware of how and why. You know what I'm saying? We are here. We can create the couch, the space for you, and simultaneously, like, what are the restrictions? And prison does a terribly evil way, and goes about it in a very evil way, but the idea that like you don't just get access no more, I think is something that should be instituted in our conceptualization of freedom. I don't know what it looks like, but I would love, to explore that further. This question, again, this is about every nigga deserves is about exercising our imagination, and so imagination comes. It's like the foundation of an imagination is belief, and so I'm really wondering, do you all believe we will get what we deserve? And if not, why? If you do, why do you? Do you believe we will get what we deserve?
Yes.
Okay. Why do you believe so?
Yes.
Okay. Then opened it up, huh?
But on that note, like, faith without works is dead, though. Yeah.
Hell no.
But no, I was saying, so like, on that note, yeah, you definitely got to believe, but faith without works is dead.
Okay.
Right? So, like, yeah, we could believe that we're going to get what we deserve, but if we ain't out there, like, putting in that work, it ain't going to happen.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So that's just a personal belief, but I do think that belief has to be paired with action in order to, manifest, for sure.
Did you want to expand?
Yes, to what Ryan said, absolutely. I think anything that you believe in, you can manifest, and it can come to be. And I'm also a firm believer in the word of God. And if God says it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And he already said he's about justice. He's, if those who are last but the first. And I consider that to be us, sometimes our community. And if we believe it, you can see it. I don't know it. We'll see it in our lifetime, but I know that it will happen. It will come to fruition.
So I love this question, and I love all your questions because they feel so open for us to, sink into it from however we are receiving it. And for me, like, I take this on like a level of consciousness. So with my own journey, as I was speaking to earlier, I have received what I've created space to. So when I look at my own life story, which is the only thing I'm an expert on, and still that's questionable some days, I'm like looking at myself like, girl, you did that before and you saw what happened last time. So, we have to like take our own medicine and take our own wisdom. But yeah, from my own personal experience, when I do the inner work to heal some things, then I am able to attract those things that I previously thought were out of my reach, were elusive, And the more that I have conversations with people who are on similar journeys, the more that I also see that to be true for them. So that's what I can see and feel into from that on the level of like consciousness and spirit and energy with my own journey.
I was watching a master class with on philosophy with Cornel West, and he was talking about the difference between hope and optimism. And basically, optimism is when, given the evidence that you have, I think shit gonna be good. That's optimism. Hope is, nigga, I can't see nothing happen, but nigga, we gonna make this shit work. And that's black people. That's what we got. That's every nigga deserves is essentially a whole movement based on that hope. That's what's so beautiful about black people. We keep that hope. You dig what I'm saying? Because we've had so much shit against us that wants to just siphon every bit of hope from us, but we keep pushing, we keep believing, and we keep hoping even when shit look bleak. So every nigga deserves is a statement about that revolutionary hope. So I damn near can't be black without that hope, without believing that we gonna all get what we deserve, because that is what we is. We gonna be all right. All these statements of like, nigga, this fist means hope. It means I believe. So absolutely, for sure.
And that goes back to what you were saying about, for enslaved Africans to believe
Right.
that they could go somewhere else and have a different reality. That's that. And that connects in with what I was saying about consciousness. I remember learning about how Harriet Tubman, she could know if you were going to make it or not. By it was like, come on, do you want this or not? And she was like, that's radical ass energy for real. And I can't even imagine sometimes what that hope. I can't.
How do we get the energy back?
You said what?
How do we get that? How do we channel and recreate that energy? Like that sense of urgency, nigga, let's go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah.
Just a question.
That's a great
Yeah.
question for us to sit with.
Yeah.
Girls.
Sit with that one, in fact.
And I think it's a personal work.
Yeah.
I think that answer is different for everybody. For sure. Because get it back means, okay, so really you're saying, what is that? The push toward freedom, right? What pushes you and what does freedom look like? Which is, we already identified our individual answers, right? So if, for example, my sister, it's sad as fuck. My sister just passed away from some health issues, this year. And so my push for getting my family on a whole new kind of lifestyle is increased, and so I'm running fast toward that star, and what does that look like for all of us? What happened in your life, or what experiences have you encountered that are pushing you forward towards something that you will not look back at? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So
over the generations and the centuries and so on and so forth of our people experiencing, these traumas, that we're it's on a path to, especially if you believe in evolution, so to speak, beyond just some of the statements that I heard were more written in the book or whatever, as far as related to hope. But I think some of the science also maybe applies, which is it's really moving towards creating a superhuman. Because with every passing generation that goes through these traumas, we adapt, right? So somehow we produce another one. And that other one has the ancestry, if nothing, for lack of a better expression, of exactly what took place before. And so they adapt. And that adaptation will perpetuate into the future. And at some point in time, that being will be a superhuman, for lack of a better expression. So I believe we'll overcome whenever that day comes or time comes or generation comes, then that'll probably be our triumph, maybe, at that point, over the oppression that we fought. Yeah.
When I hear that, I'd rather pose it as, are we going to take what we deserve? Because they are not going to give us anything. We have to be in the mindset to be able to take those actionable steps as a people to be able to build a space like this, but also a mental space for us to be able to receive what we deserve. I don't know if as a people we're there quite yet, but they're not going to just give it to us. That's just my perspective.
As for me, it starts with accountability. And I don't think we will get what we deserve until we hold ourselves accountable. I feel like our generation hasn't done a great job, or hasn't done as well as our ancestors in holding ourselves accountable. So until we do that, that starts with yourself, then your family, your block, your community. If you can hold yourself accountable and be like an emanation of that concept, I think that's the beginning of us, quote unquote, getting what we deserve. So
I think part of it is back to what, I'm sorry, I can't see you behind the tree. Talking about energy and healing and spirit and consciousness. It's like, I think if you do the work of inner healing, then just naturally, like you said, you create space, mental space, psychological space, spiritual space to receive. And I think part of that receiving is being able to receive and hold space for others. If you think about the Chironic wound, this is sort of like like going through the trenches of trauma in order to heal it, then you can't actually help someone through that journey, like Harriet Tubman, metaphorically, until you've done that yourself. You can't help people heal if you're not healing. So if you do the work to heal yourself, then you sort of become like a healer to others, and you don't get that superpower until you do the work. And then I guess that comes to the accountability. What are you being accountable for or accountable to? The work, the inner work.
We believe we're going to get what we deserve. I say it's like, there's nothing that beats knowing, right? Officer pull you over or such like that, you ain't going to say, I believe this my car. I know this my car. I know my people are going to make it, my niggas. You know what I'm saying? The word nigga, you know what I'm saying? We work with vibrations, you know what I'm saying? And we channel it through that. It's not Africans. It's not just Africans. All levels of melanin is called nigga. You can be a Mexican called a nigga. You know what I'm saying? You can go down to Cuba, find some niggas. You know what I'm saying? It's all forms of nigga, you know what I'm saying? But it's dominant versus recessive. All melanated people, women and female, you are the mothers and fathers of all these melanated people. You know what I'm saying? People wonder why, like, oh, they follow us in fashion. They follow us in music. Wouldn't you want to replicate your mother and your fathers? You know what I'm saying? And when we say like words like, you know what I'm saying? We were just saying like, nigga, we could take shit and make it taste good. You know what I'm saying? We work with it. That's our true alchemist power. You know, we're all our own individual gods connected as one, you know what I'm saying? Even for least melanin people. And when we come to knowing that, that's knowing us. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing that beats knowing. You don't want to believe yourself. You want to know yourself. You want to know, you want to tell, you want to follow somebody that knows. It's like, oh no, I believe this project gonna be the best thing in the world. No, I know. And that's where I feel like we can channel it. And there's nothing wrong with about not knowing, you know what I'm saying? Because you know that. You know what I'm saying? At least you know that. And now you got a square one. At first, you're just saying, at least you want to know something. You know what I'm saying? And like Erykah Badu, the one that knows nothing knows something. You know what I'm saying? So I think we steer our way to, fundamental things. You know what I'm saying? Melanin isn't everything. Melanin is an energy converter. You find melanin in your eyes, you turn melanin in your ears and such like that. Even in a white man, there's melanin. So we need to look at this planet as ours. This is our home. We are the gods of this earth. So do we know that our niggas is going to get what we deserve? Yes, I think that's.
I've been following this brand for roughly about a year and a half. I walked into it today, not even knowing I was going to be fortunate enough to be amongst all of you. And within that, the first time I saw Every Nigga Deserve, there was an audacity behind it, right? There's a boisterousness in the notion of saying nigga gracefully, respectfully, but deservingly. We come from it in the essence that myself, I'm the first person in my family born in America. I'm from Ghana. But with that, I was the African booty scratcher. That acceptance that we don't find on a daily basis is something that we deserve to yearn for, just like learning. The purpose of the acronym itself is end when it's all put together. And so I constantly think about ending the blight. And within that is just the diversity, the communication, the elements that are found here. Somebody who comes from a community that nigger comes with the hard R, comparative to somebody who knows that hope is our most definitive when it comes to how we move, elevate, and actually, translate the word nigga as we remix it. One value behind that is the audacity that I stated, is that every single day you might as well just hold yourself up high, because time is the element that we're all fighting against. And it's the one thing that we connect ourselves with. So within the end, you also have to remind yourself of the beginning. We hold ourselves as niggas comfortably, but there is a past that when we look at a white person, they say we have to consider what they mean, right? I really don't give a damn what they mean, because I hold my audacity as my truth. When it comes to harm, one element that everybody has to pay attention to is the fact that, this is the truth. Do not harm yourself, do not harm others. Everything is off fucking limits. Go off. And in that, I think that every nigga deserves to always consider the fact that they have a right to live their life from the second they were born, regardless of what elements are put in front of them. So there will be an end. There will be an end to our plight. Time and how fast we get to it is all deserving, but it's really on us. And the fact of the matter is, I ended that shit a couple weeks ago, because there's never going to be a day that I stand on this earth and not consider myself a nigga, but I hold myself much higher than just the term nigga. You know what I mean?
In terms of answering your question for will every nigga get something they deserve, I work in mapping. And so when we're trying to solve a problem, and let's say that we're trying to solve a problem maybe of where to put hospitals in a city, and we're only looking at hospitals in the city, and there might be a hospital right outside of the city, but because we're only examining a smaller area than the actual problem deserves to be looked at, like our scope is too small, we call that an error of an error of scope. We're looking at it too small. So in the same way in which we approach problems, I think that a lot of times we can have too small of a scope of a problem. And so will every nigga get what they deserve, right? Right now we're existing in like 3D space in which time is all that we are experiencing. But in fact, time, all of the past and the future already exists. And even all the other timelines of the past and the future, particularly the future, already exists as well. So actually, we do already have what we deserve. It already is there, but we just have to approach it with that understanding that it's already there. And even on a level of just like, like this 3D and 4D, on an interdimensional level, we also have the problem of we don't understand things from the right scope, and that there's actually other interdimensional beings that are assisting us. But we have to tap into that, and we have to ask them and acknowledge them for help, and then we can solve these issues, and we can get the assistance that we need, and every niggas can get what they deserve. So
I really want Black people, we talked about reclamation. I want us to reclaim our inherent power. Yeah. Like, I want us to, like you said, understand the divinity that we already have. I feel like we deserve it because we are it. Like, we are like the batteries of the world. Like, this was kind of touched on, but like, we're the mother, we're the father, we're the creatrix. We are the people who are literally constantly driving everything from culture to, music to art. And I want us to just like mentally understand the level of power that we have as a people, and that the limitations and the lack of freedom is like within our minds. But as a collective, we run this shit. Like, we really do. And I think like this idea of like, are they going to give it to us or should he take it? We already have it. We have it. And like, we as a presence and as a people on this planet are shaping it every day. And we can shape the reality that we want to see. We can create the reality that we want to see. And so I think like every nigga deserve, like this brand, like when I saw it, it was a reminder of like, yes, you deserve therapy. Yes, you deserve rest. Yes, you deserve this. It was just like an affirmation of like, if you ever doubt in your mind that you are not a powerful manifesting being, like, I'm gonna just give you this little note and I'm gonna do it in a cute and a cheeky way. Yeah. So you can understand the level that you should be existing at on a daily basis. You should have access to all of this on a daily basis because it's your birthright. Yeah. Because you should exist on that plane as just like a standard, and this world has tried to convince us that we don't deserve to exist that way. And so it's kind of like a remembrance, like we're remembering who we are. When we read every nigga deserves this, we're remembering that we deserve it because we were asleep for a long time, but it's like we gotta wake up and understand that this is ours. Like, all of it's ours and it's in our hands. And at any moment we can take it back. We can claim it as ours. So thank you for that.
The phrase is very inspiring to myself. When I think about the word deserves, it's kind of twofold. It's kind of very much polarizing because you either have reward or you have punishments. And wherever you are in that moment determines if you're attracting that punishment. If you are lacking self-worth and you believe, okay, you know what? I deserve this punishment. I deserve this negativity that's coming to me. Not allowing yourself to have grace. Or I deserve this reward. So it all determines on which end of the spectrum that you're operating. Where are you vibrating on the spectrum? Are you operating in a place of joy and hope and love? Or are you operating in anxiety, fear, self-doubt? Wherever you are on that spectrum is what is going to come to you. So whether that's a punishment or a reward determines on your vibration. So whether it be a safe space or whether it be, like I saw before, yoga or to dream big, determines on yourself and your inner work that needs to be done, and so that what comes to mind when I hear the phrase. Yeah, that verb, deserves.
I think the word nigga makes it clear who we're talking to more than anything else. Like, not just Black people, not just people who identify as people of color. Like, we're talking about the people who are marginalized enough to be followed in the store, regardless of what you're dressed like. Like, I'm talking to niggas, you know what I mean? So I feel like that, to me, is why it mattered. That, like, the mental health space and the yoga space and all of that is so washed in a way, and I don't see myself there always. But here, I know who they're talking to. And to me, it's that jarring thing of saying, if I'm bothered by the phrase, every nigga deserves a safe space, why does that bother me? Do we not? Even my homies that have been through enough trauma to be on crack or have murdered someone or whatever, do we not all deserve? Sorry, I'm gonna start crying. But anyway, yeah, that's why it spoke to me, because it was so specific, not scared to be specific to who we're talking to and to say that even us, especially us, deserves.
Would it be different if it said like every Black person deserves?
Yes.
Yeah.
90%.
Yeah. Would not hit.
First off, it wouldn't even sound as good. That shit is sound trash.
Yeah. There's nobody white behind.
Right.
Every.
Yes. The African American descent.
It's interesting to think about that too, right? We're working to build like spaces designed for us, and sometimes spaces like the naming convention of it, like Black X, right? Like it doesn't always land well, if you will. And the intention could be to still serve our community, but it doesn't hit. And on the other side of it, you think about like these spaces that aren't designed for us, but they don't intentionally say like they're not designed for us. You just know that they're not for you, right? And then so this is on the other end of the spectrum where it's like, nigga, this for you, nigga. Yeah, it's for you, my nigga. Come through. It's super little, yeah. Come on. It's super dope. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's come through in a couple ways. Even like Taylor and I were at Sephora earlier, and we started connecting with these guys because energy, again, the energy of this space has even made its way to Sephora in beautiful interactions. And we were talking with I perceived them to be two Black men and one white man. And there was like an exchange where he was like, oh yeah, I know the brand, but I haven't reshared it. And Taylor was like, I know. Yeah, and he was just probably acknowledging that respectfully, right? But again, audience, and I have, like many of you, lived many different lives, and I used to work within Black theater. And one of the things that Lou Bellamy, the founder and artistic director of Penumbra Theater Company, which is a very historic Black theater in the United States, he would always talk about how good art is very, very specific. And when they were staging these shows, it was always a Black playwright speaking to a Black audience, not a Black playwright speaking to a general audience. It's not a Black, it's like, we're speaking to you. We're going to do that in a way that makes sense. It's not going to be historically inaccurate. Like, it's going to be specific. And it is from that specificity that makes it resonate universally.
I didn't know about this until today, or like until this weekend. And like really struck out everything that everyone said, and what we deserve is community. Like what we deserve is to have spaces where I can, come in here and speak and have everyone listen, and everyone else has been just saying such beautiful stuff from their heart, and everyone just like the love and the connection and the sorry, now I'm like tongue tied, but someone told me recently that the cure to burnout isn't necessarily self-care, but it's community. It's being with other people. And like a lot of the panelists, I grew up in a predominantly white space. I didn't find the confidence to be who I was. I didn't realize what was blocking my freedom because I wasn't in predominantly Black spaces. And when you find safe spaces like this, all of a sudden it's possible to get what you deserve. You realize it's possible. You enter into that dimension where it exists. And you realize that this moment that y'all have created is what we deserve.
The acronym N, that alone is powerful. And when I saw the name, I was like, this is very clever, because a lot of times when we grow up, we want to end the generational curse. We want to end, all these things. And one of the things, like having a safe space, being able to go to therapy, having no judgment, those are things that we should have. But looking at ending us believing that we don't deserve that, or ending the notion that we shouldn't have those things, or ending that part. So for me, I think the name is like really dope because of the end part. And then it captivates you and you're like, what does that mean? So when you're explaining it to someone, it's a message. Like, this is a message, and this is like just beautiful of having space and having, positive energy and being able to create and do what we could possibly do with giving all the resources needed to, create something amazing. And that's what we deserve. So the whole acronym of ending, not having those things and being able to be like, we deserve them. And now here we are, accepting that. So I think it's just beautiful. So that's it.
We had like two people pull up on us, and the person in the passenger seat was more intrigued to see what it was about, but the person that was driving was a more fair skin, and she said, well, if you don't want us saying nigga, then why you got niggas right? And I said, cause niggas got it like that, but it's more like, come see what it's about though, you know what I'm saying? Like, before you judge though. But like, I would say, I thought about what she said, and I grew up conflicted about the word niggas. I hated it and I loved it, you know what I'm saying? And mostly because nigga was really like a bad thing. It was always taught to be a bad thing, being nigga, doing nigga shit, you know what I'm saying? And then till you learn, like, I can love some nigga shit, but not all the time, you know what I'm saying? So being conflicted, I understand that being a nigga and doing nigga shit come with consequence. So being a nigga comes with different situations. So like, every nigga deserves, it speaks to me in the sense of like, even when you bad, or even when you labeled as bad, or you maybe just looked at as a bad person just because of your skin, or you looked at as a nigga because of your skin, that everything would be okay. You still deserve therapy. You can still deserve a sunrise. You feel me? Like real shit like that. And I think like right now, like, I grew up in the Black community, but right now this is the most energy I felt and most a part of something as far as like a real community I felt. And I think it's up to us to redefine what we call community. Community is just not where we live because we had to leave where we live. All of us. I'm pretty sure people from all over the place here, you know what I'm saying, just to come to this one space. So, it's important that we continue to support brands like this, like real lifestyle brands that touch you and make you think about everything. This brand not just here to just be what it is. It's here to make you think and question shit. If you're not questioning shit, then, you know what I'm saying, it's basic. So now we got something to talk about, and now we got something to reinvent. The word nigga, our communities, us, and, our plans for the future. So
Yeah, again, beautiful. Beautiful space. Like you said, we in deep thought right now. You know, I can't wait till we had the technology to really, see how we're circling around each other in thought. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just picturing the sky, like how beautiful our thoughts are right now, and how deeper we are getting into our purpose, in the process of that. So I'm thankful for everybody for not only sharing, obviously, but for thinking. You know what I'm saying? For thinking. That's a big deal. So I want to close it out with just a quick checkout. How did you feel when you came in? How do you feel now? And we'll just wrap it up with that, if that's cool. All right, how do you feel? How did you feel when you came in? How do you feel now?
I was feeling really anxious, I'm not gonna lie. But I feel like I just feel at peace. Like it feels so good to just hear niggas talk. Like, I don't know, this feels so great. Seeing so many different types of people, knowing that we're all from different places, but we connect because of like who we are. So I feel good, this was amazing.
Fast.
I felt really curious coming into the space, like, a lot of uncertainty, not knowing. And now I feel just like very relieved in hearing from everyone and just like the relatability we have, the unity that's in the room that sometimes you don't even know who you're amongst. And we all have so many similar experiences. And that feels good.
Yeah.
I came in similar. Whenever you talking in front of people, you a little anxious. You know what I'm saying? No matter how charismatic any of us may seem, niggas be anxious. It's funny because like, I don't know if I necessarily would consider myself a Christian anymore, but I still definitely follow a lot of the energy that represents what Christ represent, right? That we was talking about that. And so very interestingly enough, like this shit feel like church. You dig what I'm saying? It's just like in that thing about back to that black shit, back to that nigga shit. It's like white people church and black people church different. You leave black people church, everybody hugging because it just felt like you just got some healing.
Yes.
Don't y'all feel healed a little bit?
Yeah.
Fed. Yeah. That's how I feel. I feel fed.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah. I already felt home here. I've been here for the past, few days, interacting, sharing space, holding space. And so it's felt like home to me. And it feels even more like home now. I'll just put it simply like that because we expanded it out to include more people, to hear more voices, to hear more stories. Conversation and storytelling is so healing. And connects you more deeply with yourself as well. So I feel at home.
Yeah. I was excited. I couldn't wait to get here. I said earlier, like when I saw the brand, I was like, yo, love it. How can I get involved? And now exiting, feeling inspired. This was amazing. So thank you all.
Yeah.
And we're gonna close out with a call and response that really resonates with one of my favorite uses of the word nigga, which is my nigga. Everybody say my nigga. Say it again, my nigga. My nigga. Love it, because it really means we belong to each other, yo. You feel me? Yeah. Like we belong. You know what I'm saying? All right, so this is a call and response. I'm gonna ask everybody to repeat after me, and after this, get you some food. We got some, the food is, I'm getting another plate. Food is delicious. Got a couple little drinky drinks, you know what I'm saying? So everybody chill out in the back with us after this. Please repeat after me. I honor the place in you. I honor the place in you. Where the entire universe resides.
Where the entire universe resides.
I honor the place in you.
I honor the place in you.
Where there's truth, where there's peace, where there's love.
Where there's truth, where there's peace, where there's love.
I honor that place in you.
That place in you.
Where if you are in that place in you,
Where you are in that place in you.
and I am in that place in me,
I am in that place in me.
and there's only one of us.
And there's only one of us.
I say. I say. All right, pal, y'all have fun.
I gotta go, Kathy.
Oh, wow. Yeah.